Well, hey, G Holla, G dot Holla.
Girl, Ge Holla, Charlamagne the God here, man. Salute to you. Okay.
Shout out to G Holla, reaching 1 million listeners on his podcast.
Hey, a shout out to Ge Holla.
All y'all said entertainers, shout out my guy Ge Holla on my Celebrity Life podcast.
Of life. We want it now. We want to pull up, get it, and pull off. We're not concerned about what's in it. What does it take to make it? Can we make it at home? Can we create our own businesses? Can we get away from the system of working in the corporate world? Which nothing is wrong with that. But let's learn, like Tyler Perry said, instead of wanting to always sit at the table, let's sometimes create our own little smaller tables until we're able to create a larger table with one another. Do you feel that way? Because I know you worked in the background of the corporate world, working with selling MRIs and CT scanners and things of that nature. Is that what you said to yourself, too, that day when you was like, you know what, I'm about to leave all of this and create my own table?
Well, let's start. You gave me a lot. I like that. First of all, in my mind is following you because I as a college professor, this is my 12th year, so you brought me back to the classroom. First and foremost, we do live in what I call a microwave society, that want it now, just like you said. The things I always tell my class is that when you bake it in the oven, when you microwave versus baking in the oven, I can eat a meal if I microwave it, but what I can't do is eat it a second time if it's packaged to just be eaten microwave. So if you get anything packaged that says microwave it, you can only eat it one time. It doesn't taste the same when you put it back in the refrigerator and eat it again. It's not that like that with the oven. When you take your time and get the flavors and the aroma, you can put that in a refrigerator and you can heat it up again, and it'll taste just as good. In music, I see artists that want microwave instant success. Just like you said in business, I see folks that don't have the knowledge. They might even have the passion to want to be an entrepreneur, but they don't have the knowledge to be successful, and they don't want to acquire the knowledge to be successful. So I wanted to answer that first part of your question. And the second part of Beyoncé, she was, I think what that also says is that her focus has always been on music. When we were riding in the car, she wasn't looking out the window, looking at the lights, looking at the billboards. She wanted to hear music. That has always been her passion.
I like that. I often, I know you professor, so I'm pretty sure you're well adverse at these topics that we're going to speak upon about manifesting your destiny, envisioning. Some people refer to it as the secret, but I like to go deeper than that because they got the secret from these ancient African texts called the Hermetic texts. I don't know if you ever heard of those, where it speaks about the reality that we live in, and that even if you go through different religions and different spiritual books, and it speaks about, particularly in the Bible, King James Version, is it not written in ye law that ye are God, and that we have the ability to connect with the divine or the Most High or Allah, Ra, whomever subscribes to that's listening, and that by us connecting, we have to stay focused, no matter how turbulent life becomes. Because I also read in your book when you say, despite whatever racial and economic hardships, we had to crawl, out in our youth, which is then white Mrs. Knowles at that time. And that's what I sense when I read that from you, is that you were hit with many distractions too, coming up. And you decided,
right,
I need to focus. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I'm going to just ask my question. Sorry, I'm giving you a lot. How does one focus or learn to focus, even while riding in the back seat of a vehicle or a car, to get to that destination?
I think it goes to, first of all, let me just say this, G, that I'm loving this interview, and let me tell you why. And I literally, while you were talking, I literally thought, I have more interviews today that I might cancel because you're the first person that actually read the book. And what I'm really getting a sense of irritation with the media is these aren't really media journalists. They're blog people that are looking for sensation. They're not looking for intellect or learning. And so I thank you for reading the book, and I can have an intellectual, truthful, and emotional conversation. So let me start there. That's refreshing to me. But to answer your question, how does one become so focused at an early age? I believe now more than anything that environment and DNA. My first book is the DNA of Achievers, 10 Traits of Highly Successful People. When I wrote that book 6-7 years ago, I really wasn't thinking in terms of medical DNA, but there's some medical things that have happened in my life that has made me understand and have greater awareness of DNA and what that means. So I do now believe that we all have certain DNA qualities that have been passed down from our families that gives us a greater intellectual capacity, a greater ability to focus and to learn. So I'd like to start there, and then when I said experiences and environment, some people have the opportunity to grow up in an environment that others don't have. And I think Beyoncé and Solange, and I know that they had the opportunity, both of their parents were highly successful, not just successful. We didn't live in a middle-class neighborhood. We lived in an upper-middle-class neighborhood. And I'm not saying that to be braggadocious because that's not who I am. I'm just painting the story for you that they got to see their parents' successes, and we shared to them our failures as well. And so I think that both our kids, and here we're talking Beyoncé, but I think all of that played into her ability to focus.